Like, this is it, man. It's life or death. Cognitive dissonance is kicking in, and that thing clearly is not hurting me. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sam. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. I'm glad to have you here with me again this week. If you are new here and this is the first time you are seeing my face, welcome. I make weekly videos dissecting internet nonsense, so if you're into that type of thing, or you like today's video, I hope that you'll consider liking and subscribing. It really helps out the channel and make sure that you never miss another upload from me. Today, we are going to talk about some fat acceptance rhetoric, about healthy eating and how expensive it is, because it's rhetoric that really gets under my skin, and there's a lot to unpack, so we are just going to jump right on into it with our first TikTok.
Listen to me on everything that is holy. If you are skinny and have money, don't pretend to know my struggle, okay? Because the worst thing you could be is fat and broke. You're gonna stay fat. You're gonna stay fat. Why? Because the McChicken is $1 and some change, but that salad is $17.99. You know what I mean? Like, you have the luxury to get that $17.99 salad. I got no other choice. So I'm gonna stay right here in my little fat bubble. Oh, you saw that hole? Broke. but it's okay, because you could go to a store. You could go to a store and you can find one because they have it in your size. Me, though I can't really even afford it, I'm not gonna be able to find it anyways.
You see what I mean? There is so much to talk about and unpack from just this one TikTok alone. First of all, right off the bat, did you hear her say that being fat and broke is the worst thing that you could be? Now, I'm assuming that she feels a little bit ashamed of the fact that she said this, because she has since turned the comments off of this TikTok, but it's still up on her page. Like, this is clearly actively something she believes in, that being fat and broke is the worst thing you could be. This tracks with fat acceptance rhetoric, which we at this point know is pretty extreme in their belief system, because they believe that they're being oppressed. They believe that there is active violence happening against them every day, and worst of all, that people are trying to eradicate fat people from the face of the earth, right? It's a pretty extreme belief system, and when I said that, these are the beliefs that I'm talking about, right? They're pretty off the walls. What caught my attention right away about this creator saying that being fat and broke is the worst thing that you can be is that she's sitting in a car, right? We see her in a vehicle. She's got TikTok downloaded on a phone that she's recording herself on. She's wearing glasses, and she is covered in very large, visible, well done, I might add, tattoos. All signs point to she is likely not living in abject poverty, right? But maybe has a twisted sense of priorities. But it really bothers me when she so confidently says that being fat and broke is the worst thing that you can be. It's almost as if she's actively admitting that she has zero understanding or empathy for anyone other than herself. And I know that sometimes it can be hard to empathize with experiences that are not your own or that haven't affected you directly, but it's an excuse. And at this point, like, it's 2023, it's an excuse that just does not sit well with me. Because there are ways to learn about other people's life experiences, even if you yourself have not experienced it. A good example, last year I made myself a goal that I was going to read more books by people who were not like me. I was actively going to seek them out. I wanted to learn about other life experiences, so I started picking up books. I read books like A Woman Is No Man, I'm Still Here, An American Marriage. A lot of really good books exist that give you insight to what it's like to live these different life experiences, right? Life experiences of being a person of color in the United States, life experiences of being an LGBTQIA plus person in the United States. A Woman Is No Man is about how Muslim marriages tend to work, and the stories are sometimes tragic, sometimes they're a little more like, this is a thing that I've learned to overcome. You just learn so much from people who don't have your same life experiences, right? And I get it, some people don't like to read. But the truth is, there are also TikTokers, there are tons of YouTubers who are out there like vlogging their life experiences. So you can easily find people who do not have the same life experiences as you, and you can watch what they're going through or listen to them talk through something that they've been through, right? Whether they have been homeless or lived in abject poverty or struggled with hunger. These are all things that you can actively go and seek out. Like, the internet is a plethora of information, so that excuse doesn't track with me. Now, outside of negating life experiences that are outside just being broke and fat, she is so off base here that she doesn't even realize she is basically admitting that she has first world problems, right? We pick that up immediately, but clearly to her, like, this is it, man. It's life or death. People who live in abject poverty, right, which is considerably worse than just being fat and broke, they don't agonize over whether they're going to choose a cheeseburger or a $17.99 salad in a McDonald's drive-thru, right? Because they're not getting to the McDonald's drive-thru in the first place. That is how I know that this is actively about her priorities and how she is prioritizing food over other things in her life. And I'm curious if this has happened to any of you. It has certainly happened to me, which we'll talk about a little bit later, where you do fall into this place in life where your priorities are so twisted. And maybe you realize it, maybe you don't, but those twisted priorities are actively hurting you because you think you're broke and having issues with money, right? But whatever this twisted priority is, you're actively spending money towards that priority and it's actively hurting you. But you either like block it out, like it's some sort of weird phenomenon where you're like, listen, cognitive dissonance is kicking in and that thing clearly is not hurting me. That's my priority in life right now. I'm gonna be fine. We're gonna figure it out. Again, I'll talk about my own experience here in a second, but has that happened to any of you? I'm curious to know, so please, in that comment section, tell me if that's happened to you, because it's kind of weird to explain and to talk about out loud, but it definitely happens. In the case of this TikToker, it appears that her twisted priorities, right, are spending money on Dollar Tree hauls and McDonald's and her tattoos, and all of that is fine if that's how she's choosing to spend her own money, right? She gets to actively make that choice for herself. That is her prerogative as a living person with agency over herself and her money. She can choose to do those things. Where it becomes problematic is where she is not either self-aware or just chooses not to care, I guess, about this sense of priority. But putting this off on someone else and saying that it's someone else's issue, that you're fat and broke, when it's clearly an issue of priority, right? You need to take accountability for that and stop putting it on other people. And the worst part of this is not only did she put it on someone else, she actively negated life experiences that are much more difficult than her own. But let's get one thing straight. This entire video is her rationalizing her decisions on her priorities and how she spends her money. And she's rationalizing for herself as well as for us, which is just strange. But the reason that we know that is that she's exaggerating, right? A salad from McDonald's is not $17.99. It's probably about the same price as the meal you would order with the cheeseburger in it. And then she makes a joke about the hole in her clothing and says, well, I couldn't find clothes in my size anyway. both of which we know are not the truth. So we're just watching her try to rationalize her own bad behavior and bad priorities. And this first TikTok sort of kicked this off for me. It spiraled into a rabbit hole of caffeine and rage. And I came across a few more TikToks that also show like how widespread this sort of phenomenon of bad priorities, like how far that has really gone. So let's look at this first TikTok that I found.
How fat and broke are you? Because I'm so fat and broke, I am currently sitting in my house waiting 2 minutes to see if my paycheck will come in so I can get myself McDonald's breakfast.
This woman is sitting and just refreshing over and over and over again until she sees that she gets her paycheck so that she can go and spend her money on McDonald's breakfast. It's so twisted. And then I found this one.
If you ain't at the gym, then where the fuck you at?
Heading to McDonald's to spend my last $5 on a Big Mac.
It's so crazy to me that we can see the chokehold that this fast food industry has over people's lives. Watching these TikToks, like we're literally seeing it play out online. And it is interesting to me, and I said this in my last video, how the diet industry is a capitalist industry that takes advantage of us all, right? We should hate that. But we don't see fat activists actively rallying against another capitalist multi-billion-dollar industry, which is the fast food industry. This is the chokehold it has over people. And it's actively destroying their mental health to the point that they're waiting for their paycheck to come in so that the first thing they can buy is McDonald's breakfast, right? Fast food. Or they're spending their last dollars on fast food. It's a problem. Fast food has warped their brains so much that they're prioritizing food over paying their bills is the first thing that happens when you get your paycheck. Over buying clothes for themselves. It's so crazy to me. And yet, the direction that this leads them as fat activists is that, well, eating healthy is just too expensive. So we have to eat the fast food because it's cheap. And I just want to go back because I did this at the start of my channel, and I know that not a lot of people have seen this video. Not nearly as many were watching my videos then as are now. Growth of a channel, right? It's been great. I'm glad y'all are here. But I made a video pretty early on where I went through and calculated how much money I was spending on fast food and restaurant food when I was at the worst of the worst with my binge eating disorder and food addiction problems. So I'm gonna throw that chart up here on the screen for y'all to see again. It is so hard for me to look at this graph. I'm really glad that I did it. But like this, where you see the most spending, it was the worst moments of my life. I cried every single day about how broke we were. We had so much credit card debt and so little income. And I cried, right? We couldn't even pay our bills sometimes. And I would cry to my husband and like, how are we going to get out of this? What are we going to do? And then I would comfort myself, or worse, punish myself by going and spending our money that we did have left on fast food. I had that warped mental health like mentality. I was the person waiting for my paycheck to come in so that I could spend it on McDonald's, or going and spending my last $5 on McDonald's. Like I would check to see how much money I had left in my account so I knew how much food I could order. It's not outside the realm of reality that this is what these other people are experiencing, and this is the chokehold that fast food has over people. It's crazy to see it in the flesh and to see these like hard numbers. And actually, I found another TikToker who kind of did a similar exercise to what I did. She had very similar results. So I'm going to put that here for you guys to see.
So I've had a fast food addiction for as long as I can remember, and I'm doing my budget for 2023. So I decided to look into my bank app to see where most of my money is going. And guys, this is the amount I spent on food and dining. This is the breakdown. This is the total on fast food, $11,000 in the last 12 months. Do you know what I could have done with that money? I would be out of debt right now. Maybe I would have traveled. So I decided to look for the total since I opened my bank account about 3 years ago. Bro, a total of $17,000 on fast food and takeout in the last 3 years. Something's gonna have to change because this is so bad. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I'm shocked.
What happened?
Your mom has a spending problem.
What?
When I made that chart, it was about getting real with myself, right? I had some self-awareness. I realized that something was going on with me that wasn't normal. But not until I saw those cold, hard numbers staring me back in the face, the cold, hard data pulled from my own bank accounts, that I had to get real with myself. Over a 5-year period, I spent almost $40,000 on restaurants and fast food. And that doesn't even include what we were spending on groceries still. Like, to think about the things that could have happened in my life. Like, we could have traveled, we could have bought a house, we could have done so many things with that money. And instead, it was about instant gratification or punishment, whichever I was feeling that day. And it really made real how bad things were for me, how stuck on fast food I actually was. And to see that other people are still kind of stuck in that place and justifying those priorities is just crazy to me. And I guess I wanted to make this A, to talk about the insanity of that first TikTok, but B, also to bring to light that if you're still kind of stuck in this thing and you're still justifying bad priorities, don't worry, we have all been there. And sometimes doing an exercise like pulling all your bank account numbers can really snap you out of it in a way that you were maybe unexpecting, kind of like I was, because it's still really, really, really hard for me to see those numbers. But I'm still really glad I did it. Like, I would never take it back. It was really hard for me to make that video at the time. It's hard for me to pull these numbers up and see them again because I just can't get over how twisted my reality was. So that's all I have to say about this topic for today. I'm curious at this point to know what you guys think. Have you done an exercise like this where you've gone through and looked at how much you're spending on food? Because the truth is, if we had just been eating the groceries that we were buying, I would never have spent $40,000 on fast food. Like, it's just insanity. And now, too, to see people who are having these issues ordering DoorDash or Uber Eats with all those extra fees, it's like a knife in my heart. Like, I can't even imagine how expensive that is because they are killing people in fees and delivery fees, and then you got a tip. Oh my gosh. Like, I can't even imagine how much money people are spending on food like that. Anyway, you'll have to let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. If you've struggled with this, if you found your way out of this, let me know. You know I love to hear from you, and I will be in the comment section liking, hearting, responding to your comments right after this video goes up. Thank you all so much for being here with me again this week. I will see you in the next one. Bye.